Therefore, I would like to inquire as to whether or not Western civilization still has any decent women. Additionally, the answer to this question probably has a lot to do with what good it serves. Let's get started now. In Western civilization, are any decent women still around? Naturally, the question becomes useful because all of these questions have qualifiers on them and are dependent on each other. They are all taken into account. Naturally, I'm referring to getting together with men, starting families, and planning for the future. Once more, this is not a personal opinion. The question's response is contingent on their ability to continue performing this role. In other words, do you drive a reliable vehicle? Additionally, the response to the question of whether you like the car or not is objective. It's a question of whether the automobile fulfills its purpose. So, from a male perspective, the question is whether Western civilization still has any good women who are willing to date, marry, form relationships with these women, have children, and then build families where the children are strong and the future is secure. They are not suitable for that position if they are unable to do so. That is the question, not whether they are suitable for media fame. Additionally, I don't anticipate that many people will disagree with me. It is based on the rates of the population. If you want to move forward, it depends on whether your civilization, culture, values, and ethics are sustainable. However, that is a different video. So another question might be, are they worthy of moving forward? So, the question is whether or not women can get together with men and start families. That's what we call the good woman, as I use the term. They are, after all, biologically capable of doing so, aren't they? Or at least they were once. Feminizing men in Western civilization, as in any civilization, is a very predictable process. Making women masculine, on the other hand, is a little less clear. Strong men, we know, are what build civilization. The men's strength is taken away by that stronger civilization. Making them more civilized and to make them follow the group's rules makes them more feminine. When civilization reaches the point where women and weaker men can run its machinery, it is precisely the thing that good, strong, and capable men construct. This is what makes culture and civilization flourish. There is no longer a need for creative, risk-taking, and aggressive men. Their qualities are discouraged as a result of becoming a burden, which is fairly predictable. For instance, you can comprehend a man with 25% less testosterone in his behavior, but what about a woman with 25% more testosterone, or estrogen? And while I do not intend to simplify the equation, I believe it to be extremely useful, because I believe that is what we are observing. Unrestrained female expression. Wasn't it taken out of the vows of the most recent royal wedding to honor and obey? Isn't that great? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a wife who disobeys and disrespects you? The notion that a person considers any kind of restraint on their behavior to be oppressive, not that they ought to obey you. Sound familiar? It probably does. And this doesn't just apply to female behavior, isn't it? Because the men also participate. Any restriction on their behavior that is based on objective reality is regarded as oppression and a part of the patriarchy. And as a result, the system should be torn down. Everybody is critical. As a result, it is analogous to providing a child with everything they desire, allowing the child to manipulate the situation, and failing to hold the child accountable for their actions and behavior. Additionally, it results in a person with very little substance and character. A person who causes trouble in life and finds fault with other people. Some guys have recently joined MGTOW, and I can tell you that it was a terrible mistake to know them. Nothing has changed for me. I would have contributed to their growth, but because I know them and have been in contact with them, I must lose money because I know them. After all, they are evil and hateful individuals. They do not aid individuals. That's what I'm saying. Then, people who enter, find fault, and then demolish the surroundings. They are of little use to the world. They never appear and claim, "I'll do this job." They say, "I'll tear this thing down" when they arrive. "I'll plunder this. That'll be broken." Sound familiar? It ought to. Women interact with men in this manner. They don't add anything of value. They don't do what they are supposed to. They are included in the deal. Their job responsibilities are interpreted as oppression because they imply that they have responsibilities or a function once more. Go ahead and have fun. Also, it's not a joke. They assume the mental state's physical stature. They are, and I am not disparaging people who are out of shape, because emotional abuse and manipulation can sometimes cause an individual to isolate themselves. Therefore, they intentionally fail to maintain themselves, but then they forget why. It as if someone is stuck in a bad relationship and treated badly. So they eat a lot and like to eat a lot, right? As a result, they eventually develop a routine of overeating whenever they have an emotional issue. They also forget that their parent was an alcoholic, and they were doing it. And now they just eat too much. They are now simply in terrible condition. Additionally, they now have an awful outlook on life. Therefore, this is not the proper course of action. Nevertheless, you can see how this error occurs whenever anyone faces failure or a serious issue. People may react in either of these two ways when they do not achieve the life outcomes they desire. Additionally, women and other individuals are automatically cared for by the system, which was established by powerful men. The system is adapting to their failures and weaknesses when they have these issues and takes them into account. Isn't it true that it's a faulty system? So, yes, would you even consider getting married to a woman in this day and age? What are your plans for this? Make men into slaves for the state despises them as a man, demands their sacrifice without reward, and only controls them through negative reinforcement. It's like living with a terrible master for a dog. Therefore, men are focusing on this. Therefore, there are no more good women because they are unable to perform the role that men require them to. They want to rival men. The fact of the matter is that women simply cannot compete with men. The men will only let you compete with them if they don't want to hurt you. This is the only reason you can compete with men. That is all. Because the man doesn't want to beat her or win, there is no such thing as competition between men and women. He desires to assist, but the woman wants to kill the man. And the man doesn't know it because the boys were raised to worship women and are biologically suited to do so. Therefore, it is analogous to entering a boxing match with a person who is unable to fight. Even though you are biologically conditioned not to hit them and to allow them to hit you, you will not. That amounts to male and female rivalry. Regarding the notion that, there are instances in which men are destructive and oppressive toward women, we're not talking about that. Those are isolated instances of wrongdoing. They are not institutionalized when it comes to indecency and crime. An injustice that is ingrained in the system is very different from an aberration within the system. The concept of awaiting the system, it is indecent to strive for outcome equality. It is unfair. It's wrong. People don't eat when they don't work. They shouldn't be compensated. You are doomed to be overcome by the issues you haven't dealt with if you don't address them in life. Nobody is treating you unfairly. That alone is the way of life. The room is stuffy if the window is not opened. That is it. It is not unfair. You lose your health if you don't take care of it. It is not unjust. I hope you understand that the men are not going off to build happy families because they are conditioned to sacrifice, worship the women, and want to be a part of the group that they are not. Then carry on useful, long-lasting, noble, virtuous, and practical traditions and values that are effective in the real world. Pay attention to the feminine, which is subjective, cares about feelings, and wants to honestly redefine virtue and justice. Do you want to live in a world where people just choose who they like or who has a higher victim status and don't grade your papers? Not even going to read the papers or grade them. We will simply grade individuals based on their victim status. Do you want to live in a world where 2 or 3 people out of 10 are held accountable to the standards of objective reality? We will read their paper and assign a grade to it. We will overlook 30% of the errors on the papers of the remaining 7 people. How would you like to operate in that environment? You do. If you're a man who works hard, is honest, and is virtuous, you're in that world. Where are the good women? Where are the women who would advocate on behalf of their children, brothers, friends, lovers, and husbands? Where are they now? From a conservative perspective, there are a few of them online speaking out in alternative media, and there are a few of them speaking out in public. Also, please don't think I'm political not. I am acting ethically and morally.